Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and we're here on a Monday on the eve of the U.S. election. That seems to be all over the news, obviously, these days. And coming off the weekend, week 8 of the NFL, the UFC to talk about, Halloween, all the festivities that happened there. And joining me, as always, on a Monday is Jason Cameron. Hey, Jason, how are you?
Very good, very good. It's been a really nice day today, actually, for a Monday. So it's been a great day so far.
Awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah. Yeah, we were talking off camera a little bit about the Halloween, all the massive fireworks explosions out there. It was insane in my neighborhood, your neighborhood. Yeah, kids were out there having fun.
Yes, they were maybe having a little too much fun, if you know what I mean. There was a lot of fireworks and sound and noises going off last night. But you know what? I understand. You got to blow off some steam. Even during this pandemic, kids still like having fun. That's okay.
Yeah. There was some pictures that came on the news from Granville, the Granville Strip, and I thought there'd be a lot less people there this year from COVID and them closing the liquor sales down at 10 p.m. And it seemed like there was as many as usual down there, and lots of police to have to, try to make sure the festivities didn't get too crazy. But the kids just don't seem to care. They just still want to have their fun.
Yeah, they do. They do, because they don't have that worldly experience yet. That's why they're children. But you know what? As long as everybody, played safe, had fun, yeah, all to the good.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're halfway through the Monday Nighter. Kind of a shocking score so far. New York Giants are up on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 14-6. A couple touchdowns. Ronald Jones had a fumble that led to Dion Lewis touchdown, a beautiful pass by Daniel Jones, and then Wayne Gallman Jr. just scored a late touchdown running, and 14-6 at the half. Tampa Bay's been great. They, are 5-2 out of the gate. They're even getting more weapons with Chris Godwin coming back, and Antonio Brown has signed now. I expect them to pull this out as victory, but surprising that Giants are giving them a run for their money so far.
Well, you know what? I just expect Tom Brady to have one of his speeches in the locker room, which is yelling at his teammates to be better, and then to continue to keep yelling until they get the point, and then they come out and they destroy this team. Which, I'm sorry, it's New York Giants. Yeah, that's probably going to happen. That's going to be a
thing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, probably. Yeah, so yeah, we'll see. We'll keep eyes on it and give some updates as it goes along. Why don't we talk yesterday about the huge AFC North battle between the Steelers and the Ravens? Lamar Jackson had an uncharacteristically tough game, and the Steelers have stayed as the only unbeaten team in the AFC. It was a pretty great battle, back and forth, a lot of lead changes. And our boy from Abbotsford, BC, scored the game-winning touchdown as the Steelers won 28-24. Did you catch a lot of that game?
I did catch some of that game, and I will say this. The deciding factor clearly for me in that game was the Steelers' defense. Lamar Jackson has a really tough time with that defense, man. He really does. And the Steelers' defense stepped up huge in that game. Gave them the edge that they needed to win the game. And yes, our boy Chase Poole with the final dagger in the heart with that touchdown. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, really fun game, back and forth so much, as I said. The Ravens were hurt really badly, though, with two of their offensive linemen going down. They lost Ronnie Stanley, and just found out today that he's lost for the entire year. He got a fracture and dislocation on his ankle. He just signed on Friday he just signed his contract on Friday to become the highest paid offensive lineman of all time, a $98.75 million deal for 5 years. He lasted 2 days on that contract and out for the year. Man, that's got to be hard for him, hard for the Ravens organization. Brutal blow.
Yeah, brutal blow for the mere fact that, he just signed the extension. just signed this new contract, and he was about to honor that with his full capacity of his play, and now he doesn't actually get to play because of the injury. But that's okay. You know what? These things happen in the game and in the league, and I'm sure that the front office will take their time bringing him back, because you don't rush a man that's making $100 million back onto the field too early, because that's silly.
Yeah, no kidding. A historic moment also as Mike Tomlin became the winningest black head coach in NFL history, just past Tony Dungy with his 140th win. Mike Tomlin's been there for so long in Pittsburgh. It's one of the greatest things about the Steelers organization is they have so much loyalty to their coaches, and they keep them there for years and years, and they seem to be able to have great seasons all the time. And yeah, great to see him pass the legendary Tony Dungy.
Oh yeah, man. Tomlin has been doing it so well for so long that I'm clearly not surprised. And also too, as you said, like the Steelers, their whole league, like their whole team, fan base, they treat it like a family. Mm-hmm. And then since Tomlin has always achieved at the highest level, there's no reason to replace a coach that's, keeps winning you season after season. So congratulations to Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, well, he's always had an incredible defense there, and looks like this year they've got the offense to match it. So yeah, that was a huge win for them, and 7-0, they're one of the front runners to go all the way. Okay, let's turn to the division rivalry between Seattle and San Francisco. San Fran, they were the NFC champs last year. They're definitely struggling a bit this year. Massive amounts of injuries, just decimated week after week after week after week with injuries. This week, Garoppolo and Kittle both went down. They say Garoppolo's out 6 weeks and Kittle about 8 weeks. So Kittle might not play a game this year. Just running back by committee there. So many of the running backs done. Yeah, it's tough for them. They just haven't been able to keep healthy.
No, of course not. Especially if you keep losing your starters week after week and your team just keeps getting whittled down and whittled down. It's actually even surprising that they're still 500, this team of the San Francisco 49ers, considering the amount of injuries that they've suffered and continue to suffer throughout the season.
Yeah. Well, Seattle 6-1, best record since 2013 when they won the Super Bowl. They're rolling along. The defense is getting better. They definitely were very aggressive. They had a lot of pressures on the quarterbacks and definitely looked a lot better than they had. But the story of the game was DK Metcalf. He didn't have a really great offensive game last week. That was Tyler Lockett that had the big game, 200 yards. But this week, DK had 12 catches, 161 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Russell Wilson, 4 touchdowns. They just have such a dynamic duo. It's either Lockett 1 week or Metcalf the next. Must be incredible for Wilson to be able to have these 2 weapons that he's got.
No, yeah, man. It's just the bevy and a bounty of receivers that he has the option to pass to at any point in time in the game. And DK Metcalf was literally, he was on stuff in that game. He looked like a man among boys, like he always does. And he exercised, he flexed on him that game for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, last week we talked about him catching Budda Baker after he made that interception. And, to be able to have the size and the speed is just a lethal combination. He's only in his second year. I think he's definitely destined for one of the greatest receivers of all time if he can stay healthy. There's nothing stopping him.
Yeah, man. We've seen some receivers like this before with Megatron, Calvin Johnson. These prototypical huge receivers that can run like the wind. Yeah. And so, like you said, as long as this man can stay healthy, his future is ridiculously bright.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah. And Bobby Wagner was a beast. He had 11 tackles, 4 quarterback hits, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks himself. Just really took the defense by storm. One of the last guys left from that Legion of Boom. And, he's trying to assemble that team, that defense around him. So, they don't get scored on so much and have to outshoot teams week after week.
You know what? Yeah, it's nice to see that a linchpin from the holdover from the Legion of Boom era is still there, still getting it done. And you know what? Like the Seattle defense is just opportunistic enough. There's enough to take away so that they can eke out these wins, week after week. But at the end of the day, though, fourth quarter, let's be honest, Seattle defense still gave up too many points.
Yeah.
Too many.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Nick Mullins came in and he was actually pretty good. He engineered 3 touchdown drives and was able to really, exploit some of that defensive problems that they have. Seattle did have injuries to 5 starters and one of their backups coming in too, so they weren't unscathed when it comes to injuries. And but they did lose another guy. Today was announcement that one of their defensive linemen, DeMontre Moore, was suspended 6 games for violation of the NHL's policy on performing enhancing drugs. So it's going to be another blow for them, and hopefully they can overcome it. And maybe they'll make some trades. Trade deadline goes tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern time. There was a bunch of trades today, and I'm going to get into them a little bit later. But I think the Hawks need to look at some guys to bring in to solidify that defense. Because their offense is great, but defense is just not good enough. I think it's NFL's worst right now.
Yeah, the defense is it's just not there, because if Russell Wilson doesn't put up a tremendous amount of points on the board, they're not really getting a chance to win those games, because we haven't seen them yet in one defensive battle so far for this NFL season. No. So yeah, that's very telling.
No kidding. Yeah. Okay. Patrick Mahomes had a fantastic game. He crushed the sad sack winless the New York Jets, sent them to 0-8, 5 touchdowns. Mahomes has now beaten 10 out of the 11 teams that passed on him in the draft. That was kind of important to him. And a lot of guys get chips on their shoulders when they are passed by. I heard Aaron Rodgers say it. Many guys, Russell Wilson, a lot of guys, say, hey, I'm going to punish them for not picking me. And Mahomes is doing that again.
Yeah, because Mahomes is doing it like, I don't know, what's that other guy I don't actually like. I like Mahomes, by the way. But Brady kind of did the same thing for years. So if you're one of these teams that pass on one of these quarterbacks, you just, you have to kind of scratch your head and be like, it's going to kill us for decades. Yeah. Decades after this. This is going to really suck. And also, too, let's be honest here. The New York Jets are playing for the number 1 pick in the NFL draft now.
True.
Good for you guys. Way to go. Keep it up. You're going to get there.
Yeah. Mahomes had another record this week. First quarterback to have 20 or more touchdowns and only 1 interception in the first 8 games. So halfway through the year, looking fantastic. 416-yard passing, 5 touchdowns. It was really funny when Tyreek Hill caught a touchdown and he threw him on his back and carried him all the way back to the bench from the end zone. That was a pretty funny video.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was great, because actually he did get touched up pretty good on that touchdown catch. But yes, it was awesome to see him. It's like, hey, we're gonna ride into the sunset on this one, buddy. No problem.
I loved it. Yeah, yeah. Well, it was finally Tua time. Tua Tagovailoa had his first career start. Didn't really super impress. Wasn't utilized a lot, but Miami's defense, special teams scored touchdowns. They got the very first punt return touchdown of the year. Had a really good fumble pickup. Their defense scored a touchdown, and they had a huge upset win over the Rams. It was a nice for Tua to get the win. He wasn't super instrumental in it, but didn't do anything to harm it anyway as well.
No, it did not. Like it's just great that you made your introduction into the league with a solid win by the entirety of the team. So that was good. And Miami's defense was exemplary in that game. They really were. Special teams, that Grant kid is fast. He is super fast. Like, that guy could, I think, give Tyreek Hill a run for his money for fastest man in the league.
Yeah, sure. Shot out of the cannon on that punt return. It was incredible. Yeah, so a lot of fun. Miami's 4-3 on the year. Pretty surprising. They were terrible last year. So Maybe they've turned it around. Okay, really fun game between division rivals as well, Vikings and Green Bay. It just seemed like it was a game between Dalvin Cook and Devontae Adams, and whoever's going to score the more touchdowns is going to win this game. And Dalvin Cook got it, 4 touchdowns. Absolutely incredible game by him. Adams had 3, but not enough to pull out the win. Big win for Minnesota, upsetting Green Bay.
Oh, yeah. No, and you were exactly right. It was 2 of your premier guys in the league kind of going mano a mano, touchdown per touchdown. It was pretty cool to see. It was pretty awesome to watch. But Dalvin Cook just had it going. He had it going in that game, and he was spectacular. He really was.
Yeah, holy cow. He had just come back. He had missed a couple of weeks, and just seemed to get right back in there. Every time they gave him the ball, he was making something happen. So, fun to watch. I watched that game again today just so I could see all the incredible plays he made. And, there was one play where it was just like a little screen pass, and he ended up turning into a 50-yard touchdown. It was just, wow.
Yeah. There's another guy that looks like he's shot out of a cannon every time he sees like a crack or a crease in the defense. That man takes off, and he is downfield in a heartbeat.
Okay, you're right, yeah. Well, it was a battle between division rivals, the Bills and the Patriots, and the Bills just never beat the Patriots in New England, and they were able to go in there and win by a field goal, 24-21. It was the Zach Moss show, who's the cousin of Santana Moss, Cinereese Moss, a few other guys in the NFL. He scored 2 rushing touchdowns. Patriots have a 4-game losing streak, their longest since 2002, and a 2-5 start, their worst since 2000. I'm not sad seeing Bill Belichick at 2-5 and them struggling. Cam Newton definitely having a lot of struggles the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks maybe now, and I don't know if they're going to be able to pull out of this. Do you think?
Man, it is a tailspin out there in Patriot country. I wish I could say that I feel bad for Patriot country, but I do not. I do not feel bad at all. Like Belichick, I'm sorry. Eventually, excellence does have to come to an end, and it looks like for this particular season, it has for the Patriots. They are struggling.
Yeah. Oh man, holy cow. Yeah, I'm not sad, but interesting to see. You just never, they just dominate that division. They've won 11 straight division titles, and with Brady there for that many years, six Super Bowls and going far, so often. It's crazy to see, but new changes in Patriot land, and I guess good to see them finally not being on top of that division. Looks like Buffalo's going to take it. So. Okay, let's talk about the Denver Broncos and San Diego Chargers, another division battle. First of all, there was an announcement today that I really love to hear, and I wanted to mention it to you. This was the first game in NFL history with a TV broadcast that had an African-American producer and African-American director. And only 7% of the directors and producers in NFL broadcasting are Black, and so it was a historic moment. They made a really big announcement today, and I wanted to mention it. The 2 guys' names are Kamani Morales and Mark Grant, the producer and the director, and cool moment to hear.
No, that's a very cool moment. I was not aware of that whatsoever. That is actually awesome to hear. Yeah, it's unfortunate that it's only 7%, but you know what? If they're going to make announcements of this nature, I guess that percentage will rise in the future. Mm-hmm. Well, at least I hope so, or else why mention it if you're not going to go in that direction? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, good on them. That was a fantastic game. I watched a ton of that. It was back and forth. Chargers have set some really bad futility records. We were talking about Falcons doing it at the beginning of the year, blowing a lot of leads, and now the Chargers have done that. I think that was the 4th straight game they were up by 16 points or more, and they blew the game and lost it. Now they ended up losing the game, last second touchdown pass 31-30 to Denver. Drew Lock looked really good, and yeah, it was a fun game, but I can't believe it must be heartbreaking for the Chargers. And being a Chargers fan myself, it's tough to see them have these leads. You think they've got it in the bag, and then they can't put it in the bag, and they blow the lead, and another loss.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I would say, the Chargers are still a young team. I would say that they're still trying to figure it out, especially with their new quarterback at the helm, right? The Rivers era is over. It's Herbert's time now. And with the fact that they've been so close for so many games, this year, they're trying to figure that out. Next year, Chargers might be a real problem for any team to handle going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, Herbert has just been amazing. He's just really been one of the best rookies out there. I think he's in the running definitely for Rookie of the Year. 3 touchdown passes a game, but he did throw 2 interceptions. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they're a growing team. They had to go in a different direction when Phillip Rivers left, and yeah, I think this will be a year to get a lot of experience and a lot of good play, but I think the future looks pretty bright there. Hopefully they can close out more of these victories and get a lot of experience with wins for these guys. So let's talk about Rivers. The Colts are now 5-2. They beat Detroit 41-21. Rivers had 262 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. They stuffed the Lions running game, only allowing 29 rushing yards in the entire game. Matthew Stafford was good, but not good enough, as the Colts really had a fantastic offensive performance.
Yeah, and the Colts are quietly 5-2. What are we talking about them? Rivers has done great in his debut for the Colts, man. So, kudos to them. And also, too, that run defense for the Colts today was those running backs were going nowhere. Nowhere.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. And then I really loved Nyheim Hines, 2 touchdowns. His flip celebrations in the end zone were pretty spectacular. That guy really knows how to move in the air. And I'm going to post those on the website, on the description of these. And they were really fun to watch.
Oh yeah, no, that's some gymnastics in the air that guy can pull off, which is pretty impressive. It's superior athletic talent for sure.
I saw Simone Biles even make a Instagram tweet or a tweet or something that said, "Oh, that was impressive," and for one of the best gymnasts to ever live, to be impressed, that's pretty cool.
Yes, that's how good that kid is. That's awesome.
That's super awesome. Yeah. The Cincinnati Bengals pulled off a massive upset of Tennessee Titans, 31-20. Joe Burrow was really good, 26 for 37, 249 yards and 2 touchdowns. Giovanni Bernard scored 1 touchdown through the air and 1 on the ground. And the rookie T. Higgins, him and Burrow have really developed a good chemistry. He had 6 catches for 78 yards. Pretty impressive. I was quite surprised. Derrick Henry still had a pretty good game. Corey Davis had 8 catches for 128 yards and a touchdown, but second straight loss for the Titans and only the second win for the Bengals. Big upset.
Yeah, huge upset. Burrow's had himself a tremendously good game, and that's a feather in the cap for the Bengals to take out a top team like that in the Titans. Very, very impressive win by the Bengals.
Yeah, okay. The Saints edged the Bears 26-23 in overtime. Drew Brees had a good game with 280 yards and a couple touchdowns, but the story offensively for the Saints was Alvin Kamara. He had 9 catches for 96 yards, 12 rushes for 67 yards, and he was just all over the map. Had a really fantastic game. This was the 45th game in a row the Saints have not allowed a 100-yard rusher. 45th game in a row. So that rush defense is credible year after year. And they're 5-2. Really good. Yeah, looking good. Tied with the Bucks at the top of the division, and see what Tampa Bay does tonight.
Yeah, Kamara, like you said, had himself a game. Every time I see that guy play, it just Gale Sayers like glides across the field. That's just kind of how he goes. It looks effortless when he's running away from you. And he's running away from very, very fast men. You know, so yeah, kudos to the Saints for the win. It was impressive, especially against the Bears defense that's top notch.
Yeah. There was a little bit of an ugly incident as Javon Wins got a little bit mad at something that happened. He ended up getting a 2-game suspension today for going up sucker punching C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He has 3 days to appeal the suspension, but he seemed to kind of lose his head. The play was over. Obviously something had happened before that play. Went over, punched him, created quite a bit of a brawl on the field, and yeah, it didn't look good. It actually was the TSN turning point because they got a 15-yard penalty for that, backed him up. Nick Foles threw a pick the very next play as it was 3rd and 20, and Saints ended up taking that ball and ended up winning the game. And yeah, it was a dumb move, and good on them that they suspended him. I didn't like seeing the play.
No, because if you remember the play, he actually, I believe he ripped out the mouth guard that was off the helmet and then punched him. And I think the guy was shocked because he was just stood there looking at him going, did you just punch me? So for good measure, decked him again. Just to make sure that, hey, did you get the point? I'm super mad at you. Yeah, anyways, boneheaded play. There's a lot of trash talk that goes on in the field, and you just have to be above that. You got to play through that.
Yeah, no kidding, yeah. Yeah, we'll have a couple games to get his head with to him, and yeah, it wasn't good at all. Just a couple more games to mention. Raiders ground out a 16-6 win over Cleveland in a absolute windstorm. They decided not to really throw the ball much, and Josh Jacobs ended up having 31 carries for 128 yards. Did you see some of the crazy field goal attempts as the guy kicked it and it just ended up blowing sideways? Didn't go through the uprights. It looked brutal there.
Yeah, and also too, I believe there was one that he almost had. It went off the upright, I believe. And so yeah, you can't really kick in that situation. It's just this is a crapshoot now. I'm gonna try to kick it this way, and hopefully the wind will blow it as a curveball through the uprights, because that's the best you can hope for in that situation.
It's one of the reasons why the NFL didn't want to go into a bubble in, let's say, Florida or something like that. They like the elements. They like when it snows. They like the wind. They like the rain, sleet. They want to play in those type of elements. And we're getting into, fall, pretty heavily into fall, close to American Thanksgiving. And I think they, love seeing those types of things. So they're getting what they ask for.
Oh yeah, of course, because football is a seasonal sport. So yes, it will be hot, and then all of a sudden now there's going to be snow on the ground, and it's like you're in the frozen tundra at Lambeau Field or something like that. You know what I mean? So yes, it is nice to see the elements be at play within these games.
Yeah, the Sunday nighter was quite. I thought it wasn't a very good game. It was two teams that seemed to want to throw the game away. Carson Wentz had 4 turnovers himself through 2 picks and lost 2 fumbles. This rookie, Ben DiNucci, he threw a couple of picks. Or no, he had a couple fumbles, and he didn't look very good. And both teams didn't seem to want to win the game. But Eagles did beat the Cowboys 23-9. But, yeah, it wasn't that fun of a game to watch, that's for sure.
No, it wasn't, because the two teams are not great. And especially with the Cowboys, with them losing both of their quarterbacks now, and you had this other guy that was in there. So yeah, it's not a good look in Big D. And again, the Eagles were lucky enough that they were playing the Cowboys. That's why they won the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so. Yeah, 3rd-string quarterback. He was a 7th-round pick this past year, and I think he was in a little bit over his head. Yeah, I think Dallas' season's toast. Eagles definitely took a bit more of a stranglehold on that, even though they're pretty terrible too. So see how it plays out. Trade deadline, as I mentioned, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern time is the deadline. There was some trades made today. Let's talk about a couple of them. Pittsburgh acquired a linebacker, Avery Williamson, and a 7th-round pick in 2022 for a 5th-round pick in 2022. So, yeah, it's weird how trades made in the NFL. You're made for 5th-round picks, 6th-round picks, 7th-round picks. It's kind of bizarre. I think he's a pretty great linebacker, and I think it'll be fun for him to go from an 0-8 team to a 7-0 team. That must have just brightened up his whole outlook on the rest of the season.
Well, yeah, because you just won the lottery, son. Hey, I'm on a winning team. I might just go to the Super Bowl this year. Where before you were just like, oh man, this team is horrible. we're never gonna win.
There's an amazing picture of him online that I'll try to find the link and post on here. He was standing on the street corner in New York with an umbrella over his head, full uniform, with his thumb up, trying to catch a ride to Pittsburgh. So it was really neat. It was funny that he decided to go out and get that picture taken. And yeah, lucky guy. I can't believe the guy's luck to be able to go from the worst team in the league to the best team in the league. That's an amazing turn of events for him. So there's some more linebackers on the move as well. The Saints acquired linebacker Quan Alexander from the Niners for Kiko Alonso and a conditional 5th-round pick. As soon as I heard Quan Alexander, I was like, Quan. Where have I heard Quan before? Do you remember when Jerry Maguire, he used to talk about the Quan, got to get the Quan. Yeah.
Yes.
You remember those lines that he had during the season there?
Yes, I do. I remember that, and it's kind of funny to see that the man's named after money then. But hopefully he can be money for his new team as he goes in and tries to make an impact for them.
Yeah, exactly. I think Rob Gronkowski just got a touchdown, and they're going for a 2-point conversion. So Tampa Bay's up 15-14, and yeah, they didn't make the 2-point conversion, so they've got a 1-point lead. 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Cowboys acquired Canadian defensive tackle Eli Ankow from the Texans. The Ottawa native, he's played 20 games in his NFL career. He hasn't stuck anywhere too long. This year he started with Cleveland, went to Indy, then he was claimed off waivers by the Texans, and now he's on to Dallas, 4th team in the year. Hopefully in Dallas he's able to get a chance and yeah, maybe start solidifying himself into the line there so he can have a good career.
Yeah, of course, because it looks like Cowboys are just going to keep getting injuries. So yeah, hopefully he can slide into the lineup and make a statement, for staying in Big D.
And I guess last trade that I noticed, Desmond King, cornerback, was traded from the Chargers to the Titans for a 6th-round pick. And as I said, yeah, it's weird. Must kind of feel weird. Oh, all they got was a 6th-round pick for me. I thought it'd be worth more than that, but just doesn't really happen. You just don't see really big trades in the NFL. I expect a few more things to happen tomorrow, but I don't think there'll be anything too big. The Seahawks are rumored trying to get defensive end Melvin Ingram from the Chargers. Melvin is one of only 7 players to have 7+ sacks every year since 2015. He would be a good addition for the Hawks. And we mentioned earlier, yeah, I think, they need to, try to get a few guys to help that team.
Oh, yeah. And if you got a guy of that caliber to rush off the edge, oh, yeah, that would help them tremendously. But here's the thing. I don't know if they can get him. But we'll see. Yeah. They'd have to put together a pretty good package just to get that guy. That's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. Quite a few positive COVID tests over the last couple of days. 2 Arizona Cardinals, their linebacker Devin Kennard and their cornerback Byron Murphy. Ravens cornerback Marlon Murphy had 4 tackles on Sunday against the Steelers, tested positive for COVID after. A.J. Dillon, the running back from the Packers, he's not going to play on Thursday's game because of COVID. The Chargers had their guard, Ryan Gray, and the Broncos had 2 coaches test positive for COVID, as well as their right guard, Graham Glasgow. There seems to be quite a few COVID today, and not very good news. It's starting to really infiltrate a lot of teams.
It was eventually going to happen. It was always eventually going to happen. Too many variables when you keep going on your flights and you keep going to different stadiums in different states. It was inevitably going to happen, and hopefully it's not going to get to the point where it's going to put the season in jeopardy.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Raiders tackle Trent Brown. He was supposed to come back from COVID. He had got COVID about 10 days ago. He went into the locker room, was getting ready for the game, and he started feeling not very good. So the doctors decided to give him an IV, and somehow air entered into the needle or into the line that was going into his arm. Air got into his bloodstream, and he had to be rushed to the hospital right before the game. A lot of the Raiders players said they were really worried and scared, and it really freaked them out to see the doctors rush in there, put him on a stretcher, and whip him off to the hospital because it was life-threatening and pretty scary. That's second incident that type of a thing has happened to 2 guys this year. And coming back from COVID, you think, okay, ready to play, and all of a sudden, boom, they make this mistake. And I heard it was life and death, pretty close for him.
Well, you know what? Whenever you get those IVs, you got to be sure of what you're doing. You can't skimp on any of the process or any of the steps that you take to correctly put it into the vein. Who knows what happened or how it came about, but that's something that you can't mess up on. You really can't, because obviously you put a man's or woman's life in danger when you do.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's the doctors just not quite being up to snuff. I'm not sure, because do you remember what happened to Tyrod Taylor? He was getting some painkiller injections, and they collapsed his lung because they pushed the needle in too far, and that just happened a couple of weeks ago. It's the reason why Justin Herbert is actually starting for the Chargers, because Tyrod Taylor was supposed to be their starting quarterback this year, and once his lung was collapsed, he couldn't play anymore.
Wow. Yeah, that's a huge mistake. I don't know if that particular medical person is still on staff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because there's certain things you can mess up. You can't mess up on that. You know how much money we've invested in this guy, and then you collapsed his lung?
Yeah, brutal.
No, brutal.
Yeah, so brutal. So, yeah, well, it was a good week 8 actually. Ton of division games and a lot of really fun games to watch. Anything more that you want to talk about with NFL?
No, just the mere fact that I'm super impressed and surprised that the NFL gave credit where credit's due to the broadcasting team for the Broncos and Chargers. I think that's fantastic. I think that's awesome. And I think whenever you bring something of that up, then that means you are going to take steps to make sure that those numbers continue to increase and grow. Yeah. At least that's what I hope so. That's why you brought it up in the first place.
Yeah. Can you believe we're halfway through the season already?
No. You can't. I'm going to be honest. I really can't, because of just the situation that the world is in right now. There is a ton of stuff going on, and it's just amazing to me that we still have the opportunity and the pleasure of watching these guys play, even during these times.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, well, a lot of these divisions are starting to really take shape, and I just wanted to really briefly take a quick look at them. In the AFC, we've got the Chiefs with a 7-1 record leading the AFC West. It looks like they're running away with the division. Raiders are 4-3, Broncos are 3-4, and Chargers are 2-5. So I think the AFC West is wrapped up. Steelers are 7-0 in the North, and right behind them. Let's see. I'm trying to just drag down to there. And yeah, they're 7-0, looking really strong. And I think, they're definitely going to be hard to, catch and pass. So Ravens 5-2 and Browns 5-3 and Bengals 2-5-1 to round it out. But Steelers, I don't know. I haven't looked ahead too much to their schedule, but looking great this year. Hey, wow, it's incredible.
Wouldn't it be interesting if in the Super Bowl finals we have the Seahawks and the Steelers do it up again?
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool to see.
Okay.
Hopefully the refs don't, screw over the Seahawks like they did in the last time. But hey, I would love to see that. I would love to see that if those two teams could make it to the finals again. I think that'd be a great
be neat, huh?
To see.
Yeah, they keep talking every week. This is the best Seahawks record since their Super Bowl win. This is the best Steelers record since their Super Bowl year in '79. And they do actually seem like they're on a collision course. Halfway through the year, they're to me the two best teams to come out of both conferences.
Oh yeah, man. They're really getting it done, so to speak. Yeah. Both teams.
AFC South has Titans and the Colts at 5-2. They are everybody else is way down the chain there. Who do you like between the Titans and the Colts?
I like the Titans. I like the Titans because at least with their run game, that's dependable. You can depend on Henry getting what you need at any point in time because he's a load to bring down.
Yeah. And in the AFC East, Bills are looking like the strong team, 6-2. Dolphins 4-3. Patriots 2-5, and the Jets are down at the bottom, 0-8. I think Bills pretty much have that wrapped. The NFC least, Eagles are starting to get to the top of that division. 3-4-1, not great, but 2 wins in a row. And Washington, Cowboys, and the Giants round out the pack. We got a little over a minute in the third quarter, and it's still 15-14 for Tampa. Seahawks got a 1-game lead on the Cardinals at 6-1, and the Rams are 5-3. So yeah, it's still going to be quite the battle. Like you say, the Niners still 500 at 4-4. Seahawks have a 4-0 home record, and if they can shore up this defense, I think they're going to go really, really far this year.
If they can shore up that defense, if they can get the pieces at the trade deadline, lot of ifs. Because they've already, too, you have to remember, they've already given up a lot just to get Jamal Adams on the field on their team, too, as well, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He missed this past week, but I heard he's coming back this coming week, so that'll be a big addition again. Okay, and then we've got the NFC South. We've got the Saints and Bucks at 5-2. Both of them, we'll see how this game shakes out, but both those teams are looking great. Saints have won 4 in a row.
Oh yeah, no. The Saints look great because Drew Brees is always going to be, Drew Brees, and then Bucks and Brady, and I get it. Yeah, he's still good. But it is interesting to me to see the success that he's had with the Bucks and the non-success Belichick has had with the Patriots. Yeah. It's kind of interesting for me to think what would happen if he was still there. Would they still be that bad? Or would they not be that bad?
Yeah, no kidding, eh? Yeah. Yeah, well, halfway through the year. I can't believe we made it. We haven't had any games outright canceled, and they're still at it. There was a little too many COVID cases for anybody's liking this week, but hopefully they can keep it under control. Okay, I want to switch to UFC pretty quick here, but I'd like to mention basketball right in the middle of it, and the hiring of Mike D'Antoni to the Brooklyn Nets to back up Steve Nash. I thought that was a really great move, and I would love to hear your comments on that.
Oh man, well, first off, Nash is a very smart man. He realizes this is his first coaching gig, and he better have somebody that he can ultimately depend on and that knows him and knows the way that he thinks to back him up in his new role as head coach, that's a perfect hire. That because Mike D'Antoni and him have known each other from their son's days, and they've known each other for a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
So I think that is going to accentuate what Steve Nash wants to bring to the team with his superstars of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And then also, too, D'Antoni will help him navigate, these all-star personalities and how to live and coach them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it should be interesting. It should be cool. It should be good for Steve Nash going forward.
Yeah, and actually, Amari Stoudemire actually was named an assistant coach as well. So they're gonna, start employing that old fun Phoenix Sun style that they all ran there together.
Yeah, and also too, because the New Jersey Nets, they have the personnel to do that style. They have those kind of players.
Yeah.
I'm super looking forward to what the Nets will look like when they go back on the court. And also, too, there's questions about Kevin Durant's health, how he's going to look after a devastating injury of that magnitude, because not too many people look the same after a severe Achilles tear. But, again, we shall see. But I believe that the future looks bright for the Nets so far if everything comes together the way it should.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Good on Steve, and it was really good that D'Antonio was let go by Houston. And you and I speculated, where is it going to go? What's it going to be the fit? And we didn't talk about this being the fit, but why not? This is going to be fun. It's going to bring me back to some of those great Phoenix Suns days, the days of the Warriors when they were just running and gunning. And they do have the talent and the personnel to make this happen. It's going to be incredible fun out of there, as long as Kyrie can just stay in his lane and shut the F up and get at it. I think they're going to be great to watch.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that yet, because throughout his career, he kind of has shown that he can't. But we'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see. Winning solves everything. As long as that team wins, I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah. Giants took a 17-15 lead with a field goal end of the third quarter here. So they're holding tough, and we'll see. I know Tom Brady doesn't like facing the Giants very much, and they're giving him as much trouble as he always has with them. So I want to mention our partners and sponsors before we go any further. I want to talk about Anchor, who's been a really good partner with Complete Sports Media. They're really great at posting on multiple podcast platforms. It's the easiest place to create a podcast. Go to anchor.fm. Verbero, hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And they have the V350 Mercury stick, the lightest stick on the market, very explosive, and an incredible value. Pampas and Possibilities. They design and sell dried floral arrangements and installations. They're designers of handmade, curated, boho West Coast vibes at very reasonable prices. Just check them out on the Instagram, Facebook, or our website, CompleteSportsMedia.com. And there's tons of details and ability for you to purchase a lot of products there. So thank you to our sponsors and partners. Okay, so UFC. Last week we talked about a retirement that really shocked us and we weren't prepared for. But this week there was a retirement that everyone expected. It was kind of a retirement. I sort of feel like Anderson Silva did. I think he might fight outside the UFC. It'll never be in the UFC again, but one of the greatest of all time. You and I mentioned him last week. Great to see him have one last fight. I wish he would have won, but Uriah Hall wasn't going to lay down for him and was able to knock him out fourth round. Sad to see him go, but 45 years old, I think it's time.
Oh, yeah. 45 years old and actually 45 professional fights in. Yeah, that's you've done well. You've done more than enough than what most people would ever expect from any professional fighter, and he's given us unending entertainment for many, many, many years. So I salute him. he deserves to ride off into the sunset and do whatever the heck it is that he wishes to do with his life, because like he has entertained us as fans for a long time. And even in this fight, we saw flashes of brilliance of the old Anderson.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Uriah Hall did get it done, and he did tag Anderson in the third and the fourth and put him away. The thing that really stuck out to me was after his post-fight interview and everything else, he looked pretty old. You know what I mean? He just looked old. And so to me, that just kind of, it solidified to me that this was a good time. This is a great time for him to hang him up and walk away.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to see, but as they say, Father Time is undefeated. And yeah, it was another guy that has to hang him up. I saw some of the Dana White comments after, and he said he regretted putting him into this fight. He hates to see legends like this and guys that were part of this UFC family for so many years take punishment like that. And yeah, it's tough, but 45, not too many guys can make it up to that age and still compete. He was the middleweight champion from 2007 to 2013 and holds the record for the longest title reign, 2,457 days. Absolutely amazing amount of great talent that he beat, and the ways that he beat guys, created some of the most iconic knockouts, some of the most amazing movements where he wasn't able to be hit. Fight after fight over the years were just so fun to watch. He got a little crazy and cocky at times, and I think it ended up costing him in some of those losses that he had. And I think even on Saturday night, he was a little bit way too overly aggressive later on, and it cost him.
Yeah, it did, especially in the fourth round where he kind of came in crazy and he had his hands down and everything else. It just wasn't fundamentally sound, no. As Bisping said, and he was absolutely right. Uriah Hall caught him coming in, and then that was all she wrote. But at the end of the day, you know what? Anderson did it the way that he's always wanted to do it. He did it his way. And I commend him on that. I've always commended him on that. And, you look back on some of the fights that he's had. I remember when you saw Anderson at his peak of his Matrix form when he fought against Rich Franklin. Rich Franklin didn't know what was hitting him at one point in time. He didn't know what the heck was going on. Yeah. Was that an elbow? Was that a knee? Was that a foot? Is that a fist? I don't know which one that is. I'm just getting hit by everything right now. And then also, too, another iconic moment was his last second win against Chael Sonnen.
Yeah.
A last-second submission with the last 30 seconds of the fight, where you've been dominated the entirety of a 5-round fight, and where you're like, okay, well, he's lost. I know I was at that point. And then all of a sudden, he slaps on a triangle out of nowhere and wins the fight.
Yeah.
Pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah. I think that still goes down as the most strikes that a guy's ever thrown and landed in a title fight and not won. Dominated for 4.5, more than 4.5 rounds. And, yeah, to be beat that way, that was just incredible and crazy. And one of the main reasons why he is considered one of the greatest of all time. I wish he hadn't stuck on so long, because he did take a lot more losses than anybody would have ever known or would have thought he would. But yeah, it's hard to step away from the fight game. Most guys just can't do it. They miss it too much. It's their life, and they just can't do it. And yeah, I think he's going to fight over in Brazil. I think he's going to probably join some of the other lesser light organizations. I know Vitor Belfort is about to fight in the ONE Championship for the first time. He might go there. You think we're going to see him fight in other organizations?
You know what? Anderson will do what Anderson wants to do. I would hope that his family just talks him out of it, because you know what I mean. Like, you're 45, man. It's literally time. It's literally time to hang them up. And also, too, you're not Vitor Belfort, because Vitor is going to be eating some horse meat, taking that special juice of his so that he can really compete. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
don't know. Like I wish Anderson nothing but the thing when it's time. It's really time, and I think it's time now.
It is time. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, yeah. Hopefully, he rides off into the sunset. He'll be, amazing coach, and he'll be able to really help the team that he is a part of in Brazil. And yeah, thanks so much for so many incredible fights, Anderson. And yeah, I'm glad he's finally going to be walking away. The co-main event was a really fun fight. Bryce Mitchell and Andre Touchy-Feely. Bryce Mitchell, they mentioned about a million times about his camouflage shorts, kind of a interesting thing that they talked about. And he's definitely like a redneck kind of hillbilly that just really knows how to bang and fight really well. And he looked great. Ended up getting 7 takedowns and got the decision win. Yeah, it was a fun fight to watch.
Oh, it was a great fight to watch. And also, too, I just want to mention that this man is definitely a hillbilly. But I love his nickname, still Thug Nasty. Really? I love that. I love that about the kid. But no, he showed his chops today. That the kid can fight. And he can grapple with the best of them, the very, very best of them. And Andre Felix's defense, I thought, was actually perfect. It was really good. He really didn't give Mitchell anything. But at the same time, Mitchell had that top control for the second round and a good part of the third, like near the second half. And then that's really what won him the fight. Feely started feeling himself in the beginning of that second round of the fight, where he was popping the jab. His strikes were very crisp. But again, Mitchell's grappling and the way that he dragged him down was by far superior. It was very, very good.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah, really good. And yeah, Feely was great on takedown defense. It was only 7 out of 13 that he landed his takedowns, but and he was able to reverse him. He was able to really had a really good grappling battle, but Mitchell just was relentless and was able to just take the victory. So yeah, it was a fun fight, and yeah, I'm sure Mitchell's going to be able to move forward. 14-1 record, and yeah, it's looking really good because Feely's a tough opponent. So the heavyweight fight between Mo Green and Greg Hardy was fun, and Hardy had knocked down Green once, but when he got him down for the second time, I think it was a little bit quick of a stoppage, but Hardy looked very strong as usual and got the knockout win 1 minute 12 seconds into the second round.
Yeah, you could tell who was hitting for volume and who was hitting for power. Hardy was the one that hit for the power. Every time he hit Green felt every part of that. Yeah. And Green's accuracy was great. You know, like he tried to keep him at distance, but eventually those power shots really wore him down big time. And until eventually Hardy got him down for good and put him away.
Hardy's got Rashad Evans being a personal coach now. I think that was a really good move on his part. He almost missed weight at 265 limit. It would have been the first time in UFC history that heavyweight didn't make that 265 limit. So he walks around 285, 290, gets up to 300 and more. So it was a hard weight cut, he said, but he still looked amazing in the fight, even though he had struggled to make that weight.
Yeah, he was breathing hard there, but you know what? When you're both big men, you're both breathing really, really hard. So, yeah, it was a great win by Hardy, though. He really looked good in that. His stand-up looked on point.
Yeah, sure did. Okay, the middleweight fight between Kevin Holland and Charlie Ontiveros. Kevin Holland had an amazing slam to put him down to the ground and get a quick tap. Something happened to Ontiveros' neck, and he started screaming and quickly tapped. I don't think the broadcasters quite knew what was happening, but that was a vicious slam by Holland to get the victory.
Yes, it was. I do hope that Ontiveros is fine and that's nothing really, really serious with anything to do with his spine. Yeah. But Holland had two fantastic slams. Slammed them for number one earlier in the round, and that second slam was just as violent and as vicious, and clearly damaged him enough that he had to tap immediately after the slam was done.
Yeah. Yeah, that got him $50K bonus, one of the bonuses of the night, and that his nickname is the Trailblazer. He's now won 7 of his last 8, and he called out Adesanya. Dana White dismissed that right away. He's not in that sort of class quite yet, but there was talk about him fighting Ian Heinisch, who's the 15th ranked middleweight right now, and has a possibility of getting a ranked opponent finally. I think that's probably a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, because I think Heinisch actually has a fight coming up soon, to be honest. And then after that fight, then obviously Holland will step in and fight him. But I'm going to be honest, I kind of see Holland could potentially fight somebody even higher up the totem pole, to be honest with you. I really do. I think he's actually ready for that. And also, too, he's the first fighter in 2020 to have 4 fights.
Wow.
4 fights. Yeah, wow. He's the first. So I think he's ready. I think he's ready. I know that he wants to try to get 5 to 6 fights in this year, which is Donald Cerrone-esque.
Yeah.
Good for you. But I'm curious to see if he can get another fight in before the year is over.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, no, he's been really busy and really successful, and let's see him get into some stiff competition and see if he's got what it takes. It'll be fun. You spoke about Anderson Silva having his hands down during his fight against Uriah Hall, but this fight before this, the lightweight fight between Bobby Green and Tiago Moises. Bobby Green, I don't even think he kept his hands up in the entire fight other than when he threw punches. It was a crazy way he did it, but he grounded out a decision win and looked really good doing it.
Actually, Green unfortunately did not win that fight. It was
Moises. Yeah. Sorry. You're right. Yeah, Moises got the decision, but I thought Green won it, but they gave it to Moises. Yeah.
So you know what? Right. Don't worry. I thought Green won it too, but clearly what the judges were looking at was in the third, where Green took Moises down, and then I believe Moises reversed the position so that he was on top. They obviously gave him the fight literally off that transition, like literally off that transition.
Wow.
As I was looking at that fight, I was like, I don't understand how Green had lost it.
Yeah,
I still don't get
how
Green had lost that fight.
Yeah,
it was a shocking loss.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know if they got that one right.
Yeah, well, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, geez, that was a mistake on my part, but yeah, I definitely thought Green had that. I'm very shocked that they gave it to Moises, but they did. So yeah, Green had been on a really good run, and unfortunately took the loss. But it was an interesting fight. I really wish he would have kept his hands up and engaged a lot more. He was moving around quite well, but I think he could have probably done a lot better if he would have kept his hands up and just kept him tighter, closer.
No, and also too, I think him just going to the ground and going into that man's realm he did himself a disservice. Yeah. What he should have done is never gone to the ground and just kept the fight on his feet. If he kept the fight on his feet, I think he literally, there's no question that he wins that fight.
True. Yeah. And the main prelim fight was a fight between Alexander Hernandez and Chris Gritschmeyer. And Hernandez was one of the overwhelming favorites of the night, and he showed why. Oh, man, did he ever take it to Grits and got a KO win, 146 in. Spectacular performance.
Utter decimation.
Yeah.
He basically pulled an Anderson Silva at the end of that fight and just teed off. Hit him from everywhere, at every angle, at the same time. And unfortunately, Grutzmacher had no chance.
No.
Man.
No, it was a decimation, huge KO, and he's got a big KO of Benil Dariush. Now grits and looking good. Wow. Yeah, just such accurate punches and super powerful. And he got a 50K for that. So great performance by him. The bantamweight fight between Yanez and Victor Rodriguez was great. And Yanez was another one of the 50K recipients for performance of the night. And he got a big knockout, 246 into the first round. What do you think of this one?
Oh man, Yanez looked good. Yanez looked good. Because I believe Rodriguez was trying to circle out, caught him with the head kick, and then that was all she said. Wrote. But he set it up though too. He kind of led him to believe that he was going to be able to sneak out that way, and then just let him right into his leg kick. So it was an impressive win by Yanez. Sure.
Yanez came through the Dana White Contender Series. He had a 39-second knockout to get the contract, and he's looking great. There was the Dana White Contender Series fighters were 3-0 on that night and looked really good. They did make an announcement that the Ultimate Fighter's coming back. Hasn't been around for a few years, but they're going to announce the coaches pretty soon, and they're going to have another house set up so the guys can go in and reenact the Ultimate Fighter. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, actually, you know what? It's a perfect time to have it. You want to know why? It's its own bubble. Perfect.
Yeah,
like perfect. Like you get these guys in there together. It's like, all right, you guys are all COVID free. You guys get to live here. You get to feed you. You make money. What do you think? Oh yeah, okay. This is great. No, I'm actually super excited to hear about that. It'd be great to see the Ultimate Fighter come back in its 8. I have no idea how long it's been. It's been off.
Quite a few, but this Dana White Contender Series has replaced it, and it's fun, but it's just not as compelling when they're living together and they're having to go into battle. I always enjoyed it. It lost a little luster there at the end, but as long as they have the right coaches and as long as they bring in the right top talent, it's a lot of fun. It's the reason why the UFC is so popular these days. Having that go on Spike TV and then having Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner be the champs out of that. There's no way the UFC is as popular now as it is without that.
No, man. That's what broke the UFC through, was that first Ultimate Fighter that I believe Dana still had to talk to Patriots even into doing.
Yeah.
Because Visionary, I'm going to give him that. I'll give Dana that. You're Visionary. Told him, we do this, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Guess what? He was right.
I think almost all sports should do that. There's a lot of sports that talk about their struggles and getting fan support, getting big deals, getting enough sponsorship, enough TV, and I think they should be able to figure out ways to do this. Do sort of a Big Brother meets your sport. You get an opportunity to find out so much more about the athlete, find out some more about their life story, and see them interact with people like that. I think every sport that struggles should try to employ this type of strategy.
No, I totally agree with you. Perfect example of that. When we had the opportunity and the privilege to watch The Last Dance.
Yeah.
That was a perfect example of that. Yeah, it had to actually come like 20 years later, but still, it is just fascinating to see what happens behind the scenes in the locker room and stuff, and what the guys are really all about, how they truly interact with one another and with people.
Yeah, no, it's so incredible, and I think it revolutionized this sport, and I'm not sure why the leaders of most of the other sports that are sort of on the fringes don't do the same thing, because I want to know the personal lives of these athletes that I'm watching perform, and it's hard to do in just a 3-hour broadcast of a game, to find out that much about many of the guys. But if you do shows where people tune in week after week, you're going to find out incredible stories, and then you're going to root for those people, and you're going to follow their career from beginning to end. And I think it helped the UFC. It's definitely something that I would do if I was commissioner of any other sport.
Yeah, and also too in our social media era of ours that we now live in, we have more contact with our favorite athletes than we ever have before. We're seeing behind the curtain even more so than we ever have before. And this would just be another added dimension to all of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, let's, yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to hear all the details that are coming out of it, and we'll see what takes place. I think they said not until the new year, but yeah, we'll keep posted on that. Tampa Bay just took the lead a game. There are 9 minutes left in the fourth, and it looks like it's 22-17. So 5-point lead, 9 minutes to go. Yeah, we'll keep you updated. Maybe it'll be finished by the time we're done. I do want to talk about the Miles Johns big KO of Kevin Natividad. Man, I don't remember seeing a guy flip back like that after a crazy uppercut knockout. Man, that was a crazy knockout. That earned him a $50K bonus as well.
It kind of, I'm going to be honest, it kind of reminded me of old school boxing, where George Foreman knocked out Frazier by lifting him up with an uppercut. Obviously, they're different sized human beings in this fight, but still, the effect was still the same. And once he connected, that dude was out as soon as it touched his chin. That was an amazing KO.
Yeah, the only other fight that reminded me of in the UFC was when Rashad Evans got knocked out, and he sort of folded and then he flipped back onto his back. You remember that one?
Yes, I do. Yes, yeah. I do. I don't remember who did it to him though. Who knocked him out? Yeah. It is escaping me right now, but I do remember the knockout, and it was fantastic.
It was fantastic. Yeah. It was the first time the UFC ever held a card on Halloween, sort of a historic moment. It's too bad they didn't have fans in the stands. It would have been pretty cool to see a lot of the costumes that would have came into there. But yeah, the fight card was really fun. Any other fights or any other moments that you want to talk about on the card?
The only other one I want to mention real quick was great fight by Jacoby versus Ledet. Jacoby actually coming back from a motorcycle accident that it took 2 years for him to recover, because his last fight before this was 2018. And he came in, he looked fantastic. He took his man apart, and TKO win at 238 in the first round. Okay. Great win by Jacoby.
Yeah, okay. I remember hearing that Sean Strickland had come back from a motorcycle accident as well. So yeah, pretty these guys live some crazy lives, and yeah, it's tough when they encounter some brutal things. Almost lost his. I remember hearing Sean Strickland almost lost his career over a motorcycle accident, and that happened to Frank Mir as well.
Yeah, sorry, and also too, that was a mistake on me. It was Sean Strickland. That's who I was thinking. That's who I was thinking of. So thank you very much for that. But yes, Sean Strickland, after coming back, and then also too, his finish was exemplary. Picked him apart at distance. Didn't put him away. All right, he did not put him away, but he picked the man apart, and he won going away with that victory over Marshall.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries. I got an opportunity to spend some time with Frank Mir, and I asked him about that motorcycle accident a little bit too. And he was at the top of the heap in the heavyweight division, and then encountered a motorcycle accident. Had severe leg troubles. Was able to come back after a couple of years and resume his career, and ended up having a really long UFC career. And I think he still commentates and around the game still. And so good to see a guy can battle back from career-threatening injury like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's great to see that. It's great to see that a guy that pretty much, I believe he said he left half his kneecap on the road from that accident, that he can still come back and still compete at the highest level in one of the most brutal sports that you could ever imagine competing in.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, why don't we turn to next Saturday's card? It's at the Apex UFC. I believe it's 13, I think it's UFC 13 now. We've had 13 cards since the pandemic hiatus finished. The main event is the light heavyweight battle between Tiago Santos and Glover Teixeira. And I know you always like mentioning Santos with the huge tattoo of the hammer on his chest. Scary dude. And Teixeira's 40 years old now. I think he's overmatched in this one. But what are your thoughts about this main event?
They're going to hammer away at each other. Like, literally. That's what they're going to do. They're going to literally hammer away at each other until somebody falls down and is not able to get back up. Hopefully they get up again, because that's how brutal this fight's going to be. I think these guys are really going to get after it. I think they're going to see who has the biggest sledgehammer.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's going to be an intense battle. Both those guys throw heavy punches for light heavyweight. It's great. And with John Jones leaving, these guys, will want to have a good performance so they can maybe get a title shot soon. So that'll be fun. You're right. Ian Heinisch is fighting on this card, middleweight fight against Brendan Allen. So that's coming up this Saturday. The co-main event of this has our Canadian Tanner Boser with the great mullet against a legend in the sport, former heavyweight champion Andrei Arlovsky. This will be fun for Tanner, and let's see if he can get a victory over a guy that's had a lot of fights over a very, very lengthy career.
Yeah, man. He's fighting a legend, like you said. But I do appreciate the fact that the UFC is now highlighting these individuals that have done very, very well at this time in these bubbles that they've situated either in Abu Dhabi or in Vegas. Yeah. I think that's fantastic to see that they're giving them the spotlight and say, run with it and see what you can do. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Yeah. Boser's been looking great. I have him on, I think, all the social media sites, and he's posting a lot of things. And he's quite ready. And his camp, he must have had a lot of fun. It looks like they're pretty ready for this. And hopefully he has a great performance. He's been really spectacular this year so far. It's been fun to watch this kid.
Oh yeah, man. Boser has been spectacular. He's very nimble on his feet, and he's quick with his punches. Arlovsky's going to have his hands full, but also too, Arlovsky's has a wealth of experience behind him. Yeah, it's going to be a great fight.
There's the featured prelim fight has Trevin Giles against Bevan Lewis. Trevin Giles has been busy lately and doing really well. That should be an incredible battle. I'm really enjoying Trevin Giles lately.
Yeah, Trevin Giles, exciting fighter. He's done great so far this year in the UFC. I look forward to seeing him in this fight coming up.
Yeah, I'm just going to he fought James Krause last fight, and looked really good. And then a featherweight fight between Giga Chikadze. He just fought recently as well. He's looking great, and it'll be fun to see him back in the octagon.
Yes, it will. He has looked fantastic, actually, and it's gonna be good to see. It's just good to see all these newer names that you're beginning to see come to the fore now. You know, the new blood, so to speak.
Yeah, that was just that fight was just October 11th. He fought Omar Morales, and that was Maurice Sandhagen fight in Abu Dhabi. So like a month apart between his fights. So UFC's bringing out guys, like you say, fast and furious, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sure is a lot of fun. It's good to see, and it's good to see that from what I've seen so far, that the guys are gauging themselves well. They're not trying to overextend themselves. If they feel they're ready to go, they're ready to go. And from what I've seen in all of these guys with their close fights, with it either being a month away or 3 weeks away or whatever, they're ready to go. Yeah. They're not overextending themselves.
No, so yeah, a lot of fun as always, man. I really enjoyed breaking down a lot of it. I guess we can just finish with supposedly Israel Adesanya and Jan Blachowicz are fighting. That's going to be pretty crazy scrap. McGregor Poirier, I guess they've put that together. Two big battles that I was amazed to hear hear both of them finally getting closed and the deal's done.
That is, I I don't even know what to say with the Adesanya Blackaway. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that would be a thing. So, okay. So who's fighting for whose belt? Would Adesanya be fighting for Blackwood's belt?
Because he's going up.
Because he's going up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all right. We could have the possibility of a new champ.
Yeah.
That's actually some exciting news. That's great to see, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I would say, John Jones will probably fight the winner of that. So if we get a Adesanya champ, then to be able to fight Jones, and Jones will be able to go for a second belt. It's kind of setting up some pretty exciting things in that division.
Yes, it is. Any time that you have champs, because I guess that's the term that we use now for these people. It sets up exciting matchups, because now you look at it and you just say, well, how long can these guys hold on to both belts? Like how long can you do it? Like, I'm curious to see.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. Really cool. And I'm excited that they're putting these together. And I know that Blachowicz was trying to get a lot of other competitors in, but this one sort of came out of left field for me, and all of a sudden, boom, they were able to make it happen. And what do you think the McGregor-Poirier battle? What do you think of that one?
I think it could be pretty good. I was wrong before about McGregor when he fought Cerrone. I didn't think his head would be in the game. I was super wrong about that. So this should be quite entertaining, because I know exactly where Poirier's head is. It's in the right place.
Yeah.
He's ready to go. And also, too, these two have fought before, right?
Yeah, UFC 178. Connor got the victory minute 46 into the first round. It was in Vegas in 27th of September 2014. So a long time ago. That's been Poirier's definitely risen up the ranks a lot since that fight. But they did fight each other, and Connor says he knows how to beat him. He beat him already. He's going to beat him again.
Well, you know what? That's what I would say too. But that is not the same fighter as 6 years ago. No. That is for damn sure. Poirier is not the same guy. So I expect a much different turnout to this fight than it was 6 years ago.
Yeah. I guess the last thing, I heard that Uriah Hall, coming off this win over Anderson Silva, he wants to fight Yoel Romero. They were supposed to fight this summer, but the fight was canceled for some unknown reason. And Primetime wants to flip his number 10 ranking for Yoel's number 5 ranking and move himself into starting to get a chance for a title fight. What do you think about that fight?
I would have picked an easier guy. Hey, man, I'll give Uriah all the credit in the world, but I wouldn't fight that dude. I just wouldn't fight that dude, man. He's a scary individual. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say when you hit him, it feels like you just hit a brick wall. Like, what? No, man. I just like something else. But good luck to Uriah Hall, man. Like, it's going to be a very exciting fight. It will be very exciting. It's just that fighting that dude is just, it's not fun.
It's not fun, yeah. Ask a lot of guys. Yeah, he's such a battler. Crazy. Yeah, he's built of granite, that guy.
Yeah. He sure is. He's built like, he looks like a Greek god with no neck. Amazing.
Yeah. Okay, man. Well, we got 3:44 left in this game. It really, it's going to come right down to the end here. 4th and 1. Tampa's got the ball. They're trying to march it down. Anyway, this was fun. Talking about the week 8, talking about some basketball and getting the UFC breakdown in. Anything more you want to add?
You know what? I think we touched upon just about everything tonight. So that was pretty good, man. I don't have anything more to add.
Okay, well, thanks for your time as always. Appreciate your Monday evenings, and enjoy your week ahead, man. Take care.
All right, you too as well. Enjoy your week.
Okay, thanks, Jason. All right. Well, obviously, fun as always. favorite time of the week. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Really great to talk about such a fun weekend of sports and being Halloween. And we're on the eve of the U.S. election. Wow, it's going to change our lives probably, whatever happens there. Yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed that the best thing happens for that country and we can move forward. Thanks to our partners and sponsors. Please go to CompleteSportsMedia.com and support them. And thanks for your time as always. Love you lots. Take care of yourself. Have a really great week ahead. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.